Bibles to the book of Luke. Luke chapter number 13, from verses 10 to 13. We shall do a lot of reading today and a lot of declarations today. And those declarations are more than prophecies. Every prophecy have got a timing, a season, and also has a condition. So every prophecy has a condition of the prophecy, the time of the prophecy, and the season of prophecy. But a declaration is forcing the issue. God said to Abraham, I'll give you a child through Sarah. And they waited for 24 years for that prophecy to be fulfilled. After 24 years, he had visitors. And in the visit, the Lord said to him, by this time next year, I'll visit you again. And Sarah, your wife, will have a child. Do you know what that meant? It was a declaration saying, now, I don't care about time. I don't care about the condition. I'm forcing it. The child is coming. By acid, by thunder, by fire, by lightning, the child is coming. So that's the power of a declaration. A declaration is overruling the matter, overriding the laws, and say, this will happen because I'm God. So there will be a lot of declarations, but first let us read from the book of Luke, chapter number 10. And my subject is a special woman. Now, he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman who had had a disabling spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not fully straighten herself. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said to her, woman, you are freed from your disability. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight, and she glorified God. But the ruler of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, said to the people, there are 6 days in which work ought to be done. Come on, those days, and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day. Then the Lord answered him, you hypocrites, does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to water it? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day? As he said these things, all his adversaries were put to shame, and all the people rejoiced at all the glorious things that were done by him. I want us to go to the book of Genesis chapter number 10. In Genesis chapter number 10, I want to give you a holy lineage coming from Noah. From Adam to Noah were 10 generations, 10 people who were living into hundreds of years. But from Noah to Abraham, again 10 generations of people were living into hundreds of years. Abraham himself couldn't clock 200, but he departed at 175. So I want to do some investigation and find the root of the woman with the hunchback who was healed. Why was he healed? Because she was a daughter of Abraham. So I need us to go to Genesis chapter number 10 and I read with you. These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. Then they tell us about the genealogy of Ham and the genealogy of Japheth, but then went to Shem, because Shem, from which the term Semites comes from. We want to go from firstborn to firstborn, and we investigate, and that will be chapter number 11. In chapter number 11, God comes to Babel. He scatters people by diversifying languages. And after he did that, the Bible began to give us a genealogy, which ended that chapter. Verse 10, these are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. 100 years, the man had no child. Chanda kutadzira ichi. 100 years, he had a child. But if he was born in Zimbabwe, he gave birth to Arphaxad, and Shem lived after he fathered Arphaxad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. That means this man lived for about 600 years. About 600 years. When Arphaxad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shelah. So I want you to see something here. When Shem came out of the flood, it took him only 2 years to get a child named Arphaxad. Only 2. There was no struggle. Why? Because his father, Noah, blessed him. So he was now a progenitor of the blessing of Noah, who he had replaced Adam. And I want you to see, so his son at 35, he fathered Shelah. He had a child at 35. Mark this. And Arphaxad lived after he fathered Shelah 403 years and had other sons and daughters. These men are living long. And remember, this is after God had said, man's sin is just too much and the things going on in his imagination is too vile. I've shortened his lifespan to 120 years. Remember that. Now, he lived 403 years after he fathered Shelah. Then he died. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he fathered Eber. Look, Shelah is having a child at 30. That's a good time, right? Very, very good time. He fathered Eber, and Shelah lived after he fathered Eber 403 years, and the other sons and daughters died. When Eber had lived 34 years, he fathered Peleg. Only 34 years, good time to have children. And Eber lived after he fathered Peleg 430 years and had other sons and daughters. He lived 430 years after producing Peleg. These men are living long lives. These men are blessed. And remember, the average lifespan had been pegged to 120 years. But they are defying that because of the power of the blessing which was flowing through Shem, the son of Noah. And Peleg, when Peleg had lived 30 years, he fathered Reu. At 30, he's a father, good age. And Peleg lived after he fathered Reu 209 years and had other sons and daughters, and he died. 209 years is not bad. Yes, by comparison, it's now diminished, but it's not bad. 209 years is not bad at all. At this age, I'm not scared of COVID. I'm not scared of anything. Yeah, because it's not bad at all. Then, when Reu had lived 32 years, he fathered Serug. Good age. And Reu lived after he fathered Serug 207 years and he had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he fathered Nahar. And Serug lived after he fathered Nahar 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahar had lived 29 years, this one is now breaking the record. It's below 30. 29 years, he fathered Terah. And Nahar lived after he fathered Terah 119 years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he fathered Abram, Nahar, and Haran. Wait a minute. When he was how old? 70. Meaning when he was our father's age. No issue yet. Past our father's age, by a couple more years, then he had a child. Something has changed here. Something has changed on the ninth man. The ninth man has changed the narrative. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahar, and Haran. And Haran fathered Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred in Ur of the Chaldeans. Wait a minute. Now, fathers are now bearing children. Something has changed here. He died in the presence of his father, who is carrying the blessing of Shem, the Semitic blessing. Something is now wrong here. You're marrying you're having children at 70, and the children are dying before you. Before you. And Abram and Nahar took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. Wait a minute. The name of Abram's wife was what? In Genesis 20, do you remember the story between Abimelech and Abram? He said, yes, I deceived you. Because Sarah is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father. But she's also my wife. He had only disclosed that she's my sister and ended there. And probably took the dowry, the lobola. But he hid the information that she's my wife. Men are now marrying their sisters. Something has changed here. There's incest now. A man is now looking at his sister and is looking at a beautiful, attractive girl and wants to marry her. Now, more calamity is coming here. And the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Wait a minute. Abram's brother, oh goodness. Abram's brother, Nahar, is marrying Milcah. Who is Milcah? The daughter of his late brother Haran. Fathers are now marrying children. Some might say, okay, way back in Abram's days, people were marrying sisters. He is now marrying his own daughter. This family is now messed up. Incest has gone another level. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. Now women are getting barren now. Women are getting barren. Where is this coming from? Women are now getting barren. All along the blessing was flowing. 2 years after the flood, pam. 35 years, pam. 34 years, pam. 32, pam. 30, pam. 29, pam. Pam, pam, pam. Things are working very well, but now these people need special prayers. Special prayers. And remember, people of God, remember that Noah lived another 350 years after the flood. You remember that? Meaning, Abraham was not far from Noah in terms of the time he was born and the time he lived. And he was not far from Shem, because Shem lived another 500 years. Another 500 years, meaning Shem was probably alive here when Abraham was around. I'll do the maths for you. I'll do the maths for you on another day, not today. And I'll show you 6 people here who were alive when Abraham was around, because they were living very, 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 very long. But in spite of all those men of God being around, these problems are now dropping one by one into this family. Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth together from Uriah of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Now, instead of going to Canaan, they are now going to Haran, Iraq, Baghdad, Babylon, and staying there. Now, they are relocating to forbidden places. The place where God had scattered people for building a tower, which they said a tower to heaven. And Terah has just changed everything. Now, chapter 12, verse 1, now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I'll show you. God is not telling Abram, come out. God had a reason why he told Abraham, it's time to leave your father's house. Leave this man. He had a reason. Leave your mother, leave your relatives, leave your country, go to a land that I will show you. What was that land? The land which Terah was supposed to go to. Then when he came to Baghdad, he said, I'm settling here. The place where Jerusalem is, which his father aborted, God is now saying, go there. But as you go, leave all this crap. So God didn't just hate Haran and Terah and say, Abraham, leave. No. God was extricating him, surgically removing him from a flow of blessing which was now being interrupted. Every family has a destiny. There's a family, you see 4 or 5 people thriving in politics. There's a family, you see 4, 5, 6 people thriving in business. There's a family, the father is a lawyer, the grandfather is a lawyer, the grandchild is a lawyer. They thrive there. There is a family which is just good in being one man, one wife, one husband. There's a family which is just good at giving birth to good, sober, decent children. Some are academics, they're very high IQ. You see, some are sportsmen, they play soccer, Madinda Ndlovu, Adam Ndlovu, Peter Ndlovu. So every family have got their destiny marked by God and their God-given blessing with things pertaining to godliness and things pertaining to life. Your own family, you, has a blessing. And your family, the genes you got from your father, which he got from his father and his father's father, are carrying a programming of a certain blessing that Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nigeria, or whichever country you come from need. That destiny has everything you need on earth. Your provision, your children's upkeep, your home, it has got everything. When the Holy Spirit hovered on the face of the deep, it was not an aimless move. He was demarcating land by land. You got your residential address when the Spirit of God hovered on top of the waters. In his BOQ, you were there. God has programmed you with your end just from the beginning. That's why Satan is a thief. A thief is a thief because he's broke, he has nothing. So for Satan to seem like he can give, he has to steal. And he uses people like terror to rob destinies and steal people's journeys and God-given gifts and blessings. So let's see now the 7 things God would give Abraham if he leaves Terah and Terah's family and all Terah's people, and he also leave his country. He says, I will make of you a great nation. I'll make you Econet with 8 million subscribers, a nation inside a nation. I'll make you Starlink with over 500 million possible clients, a nation inside a nation. I'll make you NLCC with 5,000 people, in Jabula with tens of thousands of people, and other apostles like me who are a branch out of there. I'll make you a nation inside a nation. I'll make you employ 400 people. I'll make you employ 30 people. I'll make you employ 20,000 people. I'll make you pay tax, which is 10% of your country's GDP. I'll make you a nation. Then number 2, I'll bless you. Number 3, I'll make your name great. You won't need a wallet whenever you travel. Your name is just so great. Right from the airport, people are pulling each other to have you in this hotel or this other hotel. I'll make your name great. You'll be like Michael Jackson. Great name. You can borrow without collateral, and the collateral are rights to your name. I'll make your name great. And you will be a blessing. You won't only have a house, you buy people houses. I'll bless those who bless you. If I want to bless someone, I'll send him to bless you. And him who dishonors you, I will curse. King James says, I'll curse those who curse you. If I want to get rid of a witch, I'll cause her to curse you. If I want to get rid of a sangoma, I'll cause him to curse you. If I want to get rid of anybody who is in my disfavor, I'll send them to curse you. You have a boomerang power. Whoever curses you, it bounces back to them. Then he says, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. You are universal and transgenerational. 7 powerful blessings. Now, mind you, these blessings are so powerful. They are so powerful to such an extent that when Jesus died on the cross, he wasn't dying so that we get a fresh blessing from God. When Jesus died on the cross, he wasn't dying so that we get something new that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob didn't have. Galatians 3:13 says, cursed. It says, Christ Jesus has redeemed us from the curse of the law. As it is written, cursed be anyone who hangs on a tree. So Jesus became a curse so that we may inherit the blessing of Bill Gates. Those on the right are quiet. The blessing of Elon Musk. The blessing of ABJ. The blessing, which blessing? From Baba Mugabe? Which blessing? The blessing not fresh from heaven of Abraham. That's already there. Meaning 1/3 of God left the earth, became a seed. The seed became a bean. The bean became a zygote. A zygote became an embryo. An embryo became a fetus. A fetus became a child. The child became a man. The Spirit of God descended on him on baptism. He went about doing good, casting out demons, healing the sick, for God was with him. All that, and died on the cross. It nails between his radius bone and his rectangular bone, when nerves are bundled. And between his shin bone and his intermetatarsal, where leg nerves are bundled, and removed the back skin, and pulled his beard, put on a crown of thorns, beat him up, starve him all night, thirsty, to an extent of asking for water before his departure. Going through all that, sweating until blood clots were mixing with his sweat. Until he got into what they call hematohydrosis, where the capillary glands below your sweat pores, which excretes water through your sweat pores to push out unwanted minerals, rupture and begin to produce blood because of high level of stress and depression. Then from hypovolemic shock into hematohydrosis. From hematohydrosis to giving up his ghost. He went through all that. Betrayal from Peter, betrayal from Judas. He went through all that. When an election was passed, whether he lives or he dies, Lazarus, who he raised from the dead, was now afraid of dying again. He wasn't there to vote for him. And he went through all that, not to bring a fresh blessing, but to bring a blessing which was already in place, which is called the blessing of Abraham. Satan feared it so much. He feared it so much. He had to send the Jezebels and the Ahabs. He had to send the Jeroboams. He has to send all those people. He had to possess Saul and cause Saul to disobey. He did everything he could to stop it. He had to send Nebuchadnezzar. He had to send all the problems that were there to end Israel, including Haman, who wanted their total annihilation, because they were carrying the blessing of Abraham. And Jesus left heaven to connect you and reconnect Israel to a blessing already there called the blessing of Abraham. And verse 29 of that chapter says, we are the seed of Abraham, not the seed of Christ, the seed of Abraham. So this blessing was very, very powerful. That's why Satan tried to interrupt it on terror. Let's go to chapter 24 of Joshua, verse number 2. Joshua 24, verse number 2. Now, Joshua 24, verse 2. And Joshua said to all the people, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, long ago, your fathers lived beyond the Euphrates. King James says your father lived beyond the flood. Who lived beyond the flood? Shem, Ham, Japheth, and Noah with their wives, right? And he says, your fathers lived beyond the Euphrates. Terah, the father of Abraham and of Nahor, and they served other gods. He said, long ago, your fathers survived the flood and went beyond the flood, then traveled beyond the Euphrates, and until they served other gods. When did they serve other gods? Even Terah, the father of Abraham. None served other gods, but only Terah, the father of Abraham. That's how Terah changed everything. Terah started kupira mzimu. Terah started mutupo, mofu what nonsense. Terah started worshipping idols. Terah started making an image of going town, rotating, watching his street kids, her vendors being harassed by the city council. Terah brought idolatry. Terah brought the occultic. Terah brought the sangomas, the sandarias, the warlocks, the wizards. Terah brought the crystal ball readers, the witchboard readers, the palm readers, the tea leaf tarot card readers. Terah brought the Legba religion. He brought voodoo. He brought vadzimu cult. He brought kurova makua. He brought kubikadoro renyika. He brought kubikadoro remudzimu ye muri. He brought nyora. He brought manjuzu. He brought ute. That's what he brought. Terror brought witchcraft, sorcery, worshipping other gods, going back to the Balaam system. That's what terror brought. And when he brought that, he interfered with the blessing that was flowing. So Abraham, get out of your father's house. And today, I came with a message from Elohim Adonai. I came with a message from Elohim Adonai. The number 50 is the number of Jubilee. 50, there were 50 days after the Passover, and 50 days after the first Passover feast was called the day of Pentecost. Pentecost means 50. Pentecost doesn't mean speaking in tongues. Pentecost doesn't mean crying during services, falling down. No. Pente, 5. Koste, 10. Pentecost means 5 by 10. So 50 or Pentecost means the 50th day after our Passover. 50 days after the first barley harvest, or after the Feast of Weeks, was a second Pentecost in Israel. So what did God say about it? He said, number 1, you forgive all people who wronged you. He said, number 2, you release prisoners. He said, number 3, you return land to its owners. He said, number 4, you cancel debts. You cancel debts. If I was living at that time, I'll be friend to bank managers and I'll borrow on the 49th year before Pentecost. So debts were cancelled. And on the day of Pentecost, they said it was a day of new beginnings. We're starting afresh. We're starting from zero. Ladies and gentlemen, what's on our Father is on us. You're starting from zero. Terror is being surgically cut out of your system. You're starting afresh. You're starting afresh. Terror is being cut off. Terror is being extricated because terror changed the narrative. Now, I don't know where your terror is. Maybe it's in 1902. Maybe it's in 1890. Maybe it's in 1860, 1710. Maybe it's in 1600. Maybe it's in 1500, 1400. I don't know who your terror is. I don't know. The first president of Zimbabwe was called Mambo Chibatama Tos 10th AD. Who built the great Zimbabwe? Father of Muno Mutapa. So from Chibatama Tos to now, I don't know who your terror is. But what I know is, when you are removed from your terror, when you are removed from the covenant of your terror, 7 blessings are coming out of you. Welcome, Pentecost. Welcome, Holy Spirit. Sit upon your people. This is the year of the Lord. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and He has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to open the eyes of the blind, to set the captives captive, to set at liberty those that are bound, and to declare the year of the Lord. And to declare the year of the Lord. Now, Jesus walks into a synagogue and started teaching. No one has a problem with him. They give him the pulpit. Then as he was preaching, not after, he saw a woman with a hunched back. To an extent that her head was almost touching the floor. And she couldn't straighten up. And she couldn't look at people. Then the matter was so urgent, he had to stop teaching. Your matter is urgent. Your matter is urgent. The matter of your son is so urgent. The matter of your daughter is so urgent. The matter of your visa is so urgent. The matter of your capital is so urgent. The matter of your bank loan is so urgent. The matter of your disease is so urgent. The matter of your household wickedness is so urgent. The matter of Zimbabwe is so urgent to an extent that everything has been stopped. And the finger of Jesus is pointing at you. And Jesus pointed at her and said, woman. He didn't say hunchback. He said woman. Now today, somebody may be identifying you by your situation. 40 and still single. 50 and still divorced. But Jesus did not identify this woman by a situation. He said woman. He said woman. Now, who said woman? The same voice that said, let there be light. Who said woman? The same voice which said, let us create man. Who said woman? The same voice that said to Abraham, get out of your father's house. There is a voice from heaven. The voice that has created the earth we are on, the solar system we are in, and the gravitational force that is making us orbit. That voice is in NLCC this morning to declare the acceptable year of the Lord. I may not know your name, but there is a name above every name. And that name bearer is pointed out at you, and he's saying woman, and he's saying man, and he's saying tatenda. Thou art loosed from your oppression. Your finances may be hunched. Thou art loosed from your oppression. Your career may be hunched. Thou art loosed from your oppression. Your son may not be doing well at school, but thou art loosed from your oppression. The disease keep coming and going, and doctors are now getting confused. But thou art loosed from your condition. That road accident, you are loose from it. That humiliation, you are loose from it. Woman, thou art loosed. He didn't end there. He didn't end there. He went and laid his hands upon her. God came to tell, he told me to come and tell you. This one he gave me at 3:30 a.m. He said, my hands are on you. You are in God's hands. You are in God's hands. Oh, laborasia katea mosesia vantio koshkia kasaya. Him who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You are in the secret place. You are under his shadow. His wings are round about you. His hands are now on you. When hands are laid from the Old Testament, you remember when Jacob crossed his hand to bless Ephraim and Manasseh. Hands are stretched to bless. Hands are stretched to transfer. And I came to tell you that from a man who have stood and walked with God for 50 years, there's a transference that has just started this year. There is a transference. There is a transference. There is a transference. And when the woman was healed, they said, this is wrong. You can't heal on a Sabbath. The healing is good, but the timing is wrong. I'm here to quieten every demon. I'm here to shatia karobo siata. I said every diabolical force. Yes, they have ears, they hear. Hear the word of God from his holy altar. This is the daughter of Abraham. This is the daughter of Abraham. NLCC, you are a special woman. NLCC, you are a special woman. Heaven has stopped whatever they were doing, and their finger is on NLCC this morning. And the voice of God is saying, you are royalty. You are royalty. You are royalty. You are royalty. I have a covenant with your father. The number 18 in Jewish language, they call it Shavar or Chai. Chai in Shona, Shavar in Jewish language. Do you remember way back in the 90s when people were not blessing each other with eggs but a dozen? Not a pint of milk but a dozen. Because Jews, they bless in 18. In multiples of 18 or in 18. That's why the mark of the beast when he comes is 666. Because 6 is the number of men. Men were created on the 6th day. And on the seventh, God rested. So 6 is man before he is with God. So 666 means man without God, man without God, man without God might be perfect. But 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. And 18 is the legal age. So this woman for 18 years, she was under affliction. But she was coming to church like you did today. Hunched but in church. 44 single childless but in church. And because you are at the right place at the right time, I heard a voice for you. I heard a voice for you. That you are connected to Abraham. You are blessed. You are a blessing. You are blessed. You are a nation. You are blessed. Your seed is blessed. You are blessed. Whoever tries to hex you is hexed. Whoever tried to omen you is omened. Whoever tried to bewitch you is bewitched. You are loosed, woman. Thou art loosed. Thou art loosed. Thou art loosed. Thou art loosed. Stand up and straighten up. You are not going home the way you came. It's Pentecost. Ha ha ha, yo so so. Alia barabosi anamaha. Ilarabosi ekosisia. Alarabasi ekide abosi. Irabarabose yakaska. Dalarabosa. Ilerebosi akadiabaha. Usi elerebe ya soso. Maye bosa, ulie miriosi araba, ulie rebosi rebodia gasia gabaha, umiria bagasia kakonsi, maha, osiemo tele hamagosia barabosie, abobo sierebo sie siabo. Tali, Ilievo, Santo Yaba, so, Variavosi, Miniaba, Minia, Shoso, Halie, Berebea Cassie, Holiaka Konzi, Uliabarabaha, Alierebosia, Tehe, Lahe, Muriesiavo, Talahi, Mihe. A cloud of God is upon you. You are a child of Abraham. You are a seed of Abraham. And the cross is the door. His blood is the key. And his covenant is the confirmation. And it is illegal for any part of your life to remain hunched when you are a daughter of royalty. And today, you go home to only see the hunched places straightening up. May God bless you.